Hello tennis guys and welcome to my channel. So I've got here these fantastic two rackets. In my opinion, these are the best two rackets in 2025. And according to your comments under my latest Tecnifibre T-Fight 305 S 2025 review, you are asking me whether I can compare this racket with the Gravity Tour from Head. So I'm here to compare it. I think these two rackets are pretty much different, to be honest. They are not that close as you might think. So let's check the specs and then I will go through the technology. And of course, at the end of the video, I will mention which racket plays, how it plays, what I think about them when comparing them side by side in terms of the playability, so you can get the sense of which one, for example, to choose whether you are switching to a new tennis racket. So without further hesitation, let's jump into the comparison. So on the left side there is the T-Fight 305 S 2025. On the right side, obviously, there is the Gravity Tour 2025. When we look at the head size, it is both for the rackets is the 98 square inches. On the T-Fight racket, there is listed 630 square centimeters. On the Gravity Tour 2025, there is 632 square centimeters. So that's just 2 centimeter difference in the head size. You won't really notice that, but just to see that not every 98 is actually the same size in terms of the square centimeters. When we look at the weight, it is the same for both rackets, so 305 gram unstrung, nothing really to talk about here. The bigger changes that can make it kind of dramatic in the difference of how the rackets feel in your hand is the balance. So the balance is 315 for the T-Fight, which is the game changer for the racket, as you can see and as you can hear in my ultimate review for that racket. And for the Gravity Tour, there is 320 millimeter balance, both unstrung. This 5 millimeter difference didn't really change the swing weight that much, but it will definitely change how you overall feel the rackets. So now the T-Fight is pretty much manageable for intermediate players as well, not only for the good advanced and tournament players. So the Gravity Tour feels just a little bit heavier, but it might not be the case actually when we look at the swing weight, which is something we are always so much interested in. So the swing weight for the T-Fight 305 S 2025 is now, according to Tennis Warehouse, 324. I have measured 320, so there is this TG, it means tennis guy, and TW, it means Tennis Warehouse number. So there is the difference. 320 on my machine with 1.25 razor soft string. On the other hand, the Gravity Tour has, according to Tennis Warehouse, an outstanding swing weight of 328, but I have measured exactly the same swing weight like with the T-Fight 320, and the racket was strung with head hawk touch, I believe, 1.25. So in terms of the swing weight, both rackets should feel very much the same. In terms of the stiffness or the flexibility of the frame, the T-Fight is 63 RA, the Gravity Tour is 59 RA, so there is no doubt which of these two rackets is more flexible, has more comfort. But once again, bear in mind that even soft rackets can cause you elbow pain. They can cause you golfer's elbow. They can cause you, trouble when you don't hit properly. So more flexible racket has more dwell time, so the ball stays longer on your strings. So when you have some flaws when you are hitting the ball, your technique is not really particularly good, then the soft frame can actually harm you a lot more compared to a stiff frame. That's why rackets for beginners and lower intermediates are usually a lot stiffer compared to the more advanced and, let's say, pro level rackets. But it depends. So time has changed from stiff to more flexible nowadays, and there is just this misunderstanding that one racket, stiff racket, can hurt your arm, soft racket will never hurt your arm, but actually both of these rackets can hurt your arm if there is some flaw in your technique, if you hit late. So it just means that a stiffer racket, when you hit late, has a faster reaction, and when you hit late with a stiffer racket, it actually doesn't harm you because the reaction of the frame is quick. There is not this long dwell time, and that's why softer frames are actually, in that sense, more damaging to your body, as I have observed. So bear in mind that with the Gravity Tour, you get great comfort if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, then it might hurt your arm. So the beam width, 22.5 millimeters for the T-Fight, 22 millimeters for the Gravity Tour. So the Gravity Tour, in this sense, is a little bit more, let's say, control oriented because the beam is thinner. So you get the sense of more kind of control. But there are other things that change this a little bit, as I will talk later in the technology section. String pattern, 18 by 19 for the T-Fight. That's very unusual in today's tennis racket world, but it adds the sense of control and spin potential at the same time. It's not the brutal 18 by 20, but you get extra two main strings compared to the 16 by 19, so you get a little bit more connection to the ball, precision, and overall control compared to a 16 by 19, which has bigger spin potential on the Gravity Tour, or bigger sweet spot also. So you can get the sense of which of these rackets is kind of easier to hit with. I mean, to hit correctly the ball, or not correctly, to feel safe when you're hitting with the racket. So obviously it's the Gravity Tour. The composition of the frames, it's graphite for the T-Fight, of course. They are using some of their technologies as well. And for the Gravity Tour, graphene inside and auxetic 2.0. Once again, it's just a different type of layups and the inner structure of the frame, but both are just graphite rackets because these are the high performance rackets and you don't expect anything less than a full graphite frame. So when we come to the technologies, actually the T-Fight seems a little bit more, let's say, simple in terms of the technology. There is, of course, the ISOFlex as with the previous generation. And what does it mean? That there is the variable flexibility in the head. So it has different flexibility in the throat section here and on the upper hoop, and also on the side of the frame. So you get the softer reaction and you get stiffer reaction on the sides. So it creates this, right, like a horizontal and vertical bending feel of the Wilson Shift racket. So you get the sensation that you somehow grab the ball with the head, like when you're catching a ball with your hand. So the head actually is flexible in multiple directions, let's say. So the head consumes the ball it grabs the ball and then it shoots the ball back. So that's why the racket is also so energetic, because the overall frame is somehow flexing, so in a wee way. But this can also lead to some unwanted vibrations, and possibly it can harm your hand, your arm, as I talked in the review as a one warning point. So the ISOFlex technology seems like a fantastic thing, but for some players it might actually be a negative thing, because you get more of this, waving of the band of the frame, so bending of the frame, not waving of the band. Now there is also an RS section technology that is improved. The throat section, there is like plus 4% thicker beam in this section. RS section means that the throat is has combined frame geometry of a box beam and oval beam, so you get best of the both worlds. Boxed means more control, the oval beam means more energy, more stability. So both of these kind of shapes are meant into the one RS section, which has 5 sides. So it's not oval, it's not rectangular, but it has 5 sides. So there is this combination of both of these type of frames. Then there is of course the foam inside in the T-Fight. So the racket is filled with foam for a more plush feel and more solid also feel of the frame. And then there are the Easy Lock Plus eyelets, as you can see down here and up here, for tightening for making the locks. So when you lock the strings as a stringer, then it is easier to make the knot there and not to damage the grommets that usually you just destroy when stringing the racket just a couple of times, and then there you just destroy them in this section. But thanks to the Easy Lock Plus eyelets, they are very hard and stiff and solid, and they are kind of indestructible. You can't destroy them with the knots. So that's just a nice small feature. I don't know why not other companies are doing this. They have just the basic grommets like for forever. So in this sense, the Tecnifibre is very innovative. Now when we look at the Gravity Tour, of course there is the graphene inside. Let's say, yeah, it's the graphite. They just call it graphene. Nothing really, in my opinion, special. The name for this technology sounds nice, but it was always like that. So no big deal. Then there is the Auxetic 2.0 technology that places the flexible and feel-oriented particles that also bend in a trampoline effect, that they have this trampoline effect. They also placed it in the handle, at the end of the handle. So there is the carbon cage that is made out of the auxetic pieces, and it absorbs the negative vibrations and helps with the comfort, and as well helps with the energy that the racket transfers back to the ball, to the shot. So not only in the throat, but also, or in this section, in the bridge, but also now in the Auxetic 2.0 is at the end of the handle, which was not there with the Auxetic 1 technology. Then we have the sweet zone. So the sweet zone is actually the most crucial part of the Gravity rackets, because that's what makes Gravity so unique. So if you look at the head shape, it's wider at the top of the head. So the sweet spot is literally like here, where you see the dot of the head logo. So it's not in the middle, but it's up here where the racket is really the widest, has the widest distance from the frames. So the shape of the head is really unique for the gravities. It kind of mimics the little bit of the, it looks like a little bit of the head boom, little bit, let's say, Yonex rackets in a sense. So it makes the sweet spot really big because the space is here, it's a bigger space, it is wider there, so you can easily catch the ball there or hit the ball there, and you can find the ball easier. So that's called the sweet zone, and it's it makes gravity, right? Now the elliptical beam is that the gravities don't have a, let's say, classic boxed beam. It looks a little bit like that, but it's more oval, let's say, it's more elliptical. So it also combines power and control and precision in one frame. Then there's the flex groove. The flex groove you can see at the end of the throat here, and it is, bigger, and it is much more kind of pronounced compared to the other rackets from head. So this adds to the flexibility of the frame because the groove here is like deeper, is bigger, and the racket flexes here more. And then there is the brand new technology, let's say it's called the half cap, and it is very similar to the Prestige series. It means that the bumper guard has this tunnel in it where the strings are hidden, so the strings actually don't go over the bumper guard, or they are not opened in the bumper guard, but they are hidden, let's say, inside the bumper guard, as you can see from the Prestige rackets. But it's called half cap because it covers just the first half of the head. Compared to the Prestige rackets, it has the full cap because the bumper guard goes down here, like almost it covers literally the full head, all of the head. So that's why this technology is called half cap. And what it also does, it not only covers the strings to protect them, but it also creates a very unique whistling sound. So when you swing with the racket very fast, then the air goes through the tunnel on the bumper guard and it whistles. It makes this sound, right? So it's very kind of, it might be distracting for some of the players because I truly hear it when I swing with the gravity. So that was really something new, and it is quite loud. So you can hear it, you can distinguish whether the player is using what type of racket now. You can just hear, hey, it's gravity or Prestige, So it's interesting, it's kind of fun, and yeah, it's just different compared to the other rackets with standard bumper guards. So now that I have compared the parameters and the technology, let's talk about how these two rackets play, because that's, I believe, the most crucial thing, because the parameters can be misleading. So these rackets are different. So if someone asks me of the T-Fight, in my opinion, the T-Fight 305S now in the 2025 generation is a more complete racket than it was before, let's say, in terms of the easy maneuverability. It wasn't there. It was a great stick with great precision, great power, awesome stability, but it was kind of too heavy. It wasn't very much maneuverable. It was kind of, clunky. It was just too much. It was for the tournament player, let's say, meant. Now it is meant also for the intermediate player. even some, I don't know, maybe some lower amateurs who are really enthusiastic into tennis and they want to get the sense of a high performance racket, they can even try this one or the T-Fight 300. So more complete, versatile racket for the all-court game, serve, volley, perfect, doubles, great, awesome. So you can do whatever you want with that racket, and it has this sense of energy, control, precision. On the other hand, when I look at the Gravity Tour, when I just think about it, the first things that just pop in my mind is easy hitting experience, big sweet spot, big spin potential, great power, kind of muted feel, very good, the overall kind of very good playability. But compared to the T-Fight, I don't think it's for example a serve and volley racket. For me, it's a racket for a hard-hitting baseliner that really wants to create pressure from the baseline on his opponent and wants to play fast yet very spin-oriented balls. So the racket kind of, in my opinion, the head gravities are like, when I think of just pure arrows from Babolat, then to get this kind of similar type of racket, but with a slightly more control into it, then I think of the Gravity Tour. Of course, the closest might be the head extremes to the pure arrow lines of rackets. But in my opinion, the gravities with the big sweet spot, spin potential, and power level, they are a little bit more control-oriented pure arrows, let's say. So, and the thinner beam and the lower RA adds to the control factor of the game. But as I told you, the more complete racket, in my opinion, is the T-Fight now. So whether you are someone who is smacking the ball from the baseline and wants to stay on the baseline until the end of the world, then you might get great fun and great experience from the Gravity Tour. But if you are someone who wants to be more versatile, who wants to go on the net, attack fast and quick, you also enjoy doubles, you want to play more variable type of tennis, then in my opinion the T-Fight is a racket that is more close to the, let's say, classic frames, but with this new vibe of easy maneuverability, more free power, and great stability. So I know I have rated the Gravity Tour 10 points out of 10. I have rated T-Fight 305 as 9 points out of 10. But from these two rackets, me personally, I would choose the T-Fight just because of the fact I truly enjoy the racket more as a type of little bit classical type of racket, also with the head shape and with the great volleys, experience on volleys, power, energy, and stability. But on the other hand, the Gravity Tour is like, that's kind of a weapon type of racket, more like a racket that you can really go for the shot as hard as possible from the baseline and you don't miss it. Like you can really smack the ball super fast. Maybe it's not that creative or precise, but the spin and the fast shots and the sense you can play the modern type of game from the baseline, then the Gravities are just fantastic rackets. So yeah, both rackets are great. Just keep in mind that they are quite different, not very much comparable to each other when you look at them in a more detailed way. So guys, there you have my tennis racket comparison, the T-Fight 305S Gravity Tour, both 2025 version, the best rackets in 2025 so far. Don't miss them out, just demo them. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And as always, enjoy tennis, play tennis, watch tennis every time, every day, and don't forget to enjoy the manooovrlbity. Bye guys.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious! That ball was on the line!